Just got off work. Okay, great. Got some little stories we're gonna listen to. It's my channel. I'm just hanging out with my people, talking, chatting, catching up on things. I'm about to play some scary stories, though. That must be a commercial. What the hell? Oh, there we go. Noises in the background? I don't hear any noises.
I regrettably used to work at a hotel in our town. Our town had gotten hit by a hurricane a few months back, and a lot of houses were badly damaged, so a lot of people vacated the place. The hotel is about a 20-minute walk from my house. The town and hotel name I'll leave out of this, because I really just don't want anything traced back to me. The hotel was a very standard bed and breakfast type place. They served wet scrambled eggs, frozen sausages, and assorted cereals. The hotel had a busy month after the hurricane. People were out of their houses due to damages. Things quieted down. Had even quieter than before the hurricane. I always worked nights from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Then someone would relieve me at 2 a.m. and they worked till 10 or 11 a.m. I couldn't see how many people were checked into the hotel. At the time, there was only maybe 9 rooms, which wasn't a lot at all. I could go the whole night sometimes without seeing anyone. There was a back break room for employees with a coffee machine, fridge, table, and a couple sofa-type chairs. The employee bathroom was also back here. At night, I spent most of my time back here. There was a bell at the front desk that people would ring if they needed anything. I was in the back when I heard a deep voice from the lobby saying hello repeatedly. I got up and went through the door leading to behind the counter and saw a man on the other side of the glass. There was a glass barrier with an opening underneath about 10 inches high. He said he needed towels. I grabbed him a couple extra towels and slid them under the glass for him. He grabbed them rather aggressively, shot me this weird look, then walked to the room's hallway. I stayed in the lobby now, sitting in the rolling chair by the monitors, and I just watched that man on the camera walk down the hallway. He was looking around weirdly. Then he started rubbing the towels on his face. I said out loud, "What in the world?" Then he got in the elevator. So I got back to the break room. It was maybe 10 minutes later when I heard a voice again from the lobby. It was the same voice. I walked back out, and that man was standing on the other side again. He said very loudly, "My key card is broken." I asked what his room number was. He said it was something random, like 2C, something with a letter in it. Our hotel room strictly had numbers, no letters, so I knew this man was lying. I told him, "Sir, our rooms don't have letters. Are you sure you're staying here?" His reaction was not something I was expecting, nor was it something I wish I ever had to be victim to. He threw the towels on the floor, started smiling, slightly tilting his head as he got closer to the glass. When his face was practically pressed up on the glass, he said, "I'm going to kill you."
Honestly, that isn't scary at all. Let's update you guys on this
franchise that has been on the go for more than 15 years at this point, and with a once annual release schedule, we have just about the same number of individual games to the series name. As the series seems to be entering a new phase as we continue to the 9th generation of consoles.
Oops, my bad, y'all.
So this massive backlog of story and content could understandably turn you off experiencing the series, because of the sheer volume of lore, narrative, as well as game hours you'd have to go through to fully understand the series is simply ridiculous. Thankfully though, I've had both the pleasure and displeasures of following Assassin's Creed from its very first game back in 2007, and since then I've kept fully up to date not only with the game but with the novels, side stories and lore, and so I have simply too much knowledge about this series without anything to do with it. So today I thought I'd finally put all of this knowledge and experience to good use by looking back throughout the entire story of the series and look at all the ups and downs, so anyone who wants to can easily understand this vast network of stories. Before we do get into the video, it would really be appreciated if you could hit like, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe with post notifications turned on. And without further ado, let's get into the entire story of Assassin's Creed. We begin our story in 2012 with Desmond Miles, the son of the mentor of the Assassin's Brotherhood, an organization that's protected the free will of people from oppression and tyranny for over 2 millennia. Desmond, rebellious in his youth, broke away from the Brotherhood. However, Abstergo, the modern-day face of the Templar Order, kidnapped him from his meek life as a New York bartender in order to further the Animus Project, a scientific division of the tech giant that explores the genetic memories of subjects through means of the Animus, a machine built using ancient and advanced technology.
What is a memory, Mr. Miles?
It's the recollection of a past event.
Specific to the individual remembering the event.
Yeah, sure.
What if I told you that the human body not only housed an individual's memory, but the memories of his ancestors as well? Genetic memory.
This technology, native to a race of beings known as the Isu, is referred to as pieces of Eden, and the Animus Project, unbeknownst to Desmond, is secretly intended to uncover lost pieces of Eden via the memories of various people's ancestors. For Desmond itself, it's Altair ibn La'ahad, a 12th century warrior born into the Assassin Order, which by 1192 is established in the mountain of Masia. After betraying tenets of the Creed on a mission to Solomon's Temple, Altair is stripped of his rank, and in order to regain his master assassin status, he is sent by his mentor Al-Mualim to kill 9 targets around the Holy Land. Hunting down each target, it's revealed to Altair through conversations with these men that Al-Mualim himself has been corrupted, targeting Templars involved in the Crusades that act as a threat to him taking control of the land for himself, and so Altair confronts his master. It's here when we first see the Apple of Eden, a machine created by the Isu to control the minds of the human slaves they created, which can go as far as to make mortal men take their own lives. With this power, Al-Mualim controls his brotherhood to obey and worship him, and it's up to Altair to kill his master and free the minds of his assassin brethren. Unbeknownst to Altair though, he himself, through Isu human interbreeding, has a percentage of Isu DNA that not only makes him impervious to the apple's effects, but also allows him to link to the apple, which reveals to him a map of the world that highlights numerous ancient Isu temples scattered across it. It's at this point where Desmond is removed from the Animus, as the Templars
so sorry. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was that voice. Juno. She took hold of me. She made me. What am I doing? This would lead Desmond back into the memories of his mentor ancestor, where he found Ezio exploring the home of Altair and the Levantine assassins Masyaf, now overrun with Templars who seeked the same thing as Ezio, the secrets of the library hidden in the depths of the castle. Despite taking on the Templars, Ezio would prove unable to overcome them all, and so escape the Holy Land to travel to the crossroads of the world, Constantinople, in an attempt to uncover the keys to the library. Whilst in the ancient Queen of Cities, Ezio would meet a bookkeeper by the name of Sophia Sartor, who, unbeknownst to her, had passage to an ancient vault under her shop, a vault built by Niccolo Polo, who, as it turns out, was tasked with hiding the keys to the Masyaf library. Sophia, driven by a curiosity and passion for life, would form an immediate connection with Ezio, who would begin rethinking his position in the Brotherhood as he aided the Turkish Brotherhood in the fight against the Templars. After uncovering each of the keys and coming into conflict with the Sultan of Turkey, Ezio and Sophia would resign to Masyaf, where Ezio would come into contact with the remains of Altair, and for a moment, Desmond, Altair, and Ezio would share a room. Discovering another piece of Eden, Ezio would resist the urge to take the apple, stepping back and speaking it to Desmond, that name he heard all those years ago in the vault. Ezio would remove his bracers and weapons, declaring he finally understood his higher purpose in the world, and finally moving on from his life as an assassin after passing on the Isu's final message to Desmond, a warning of the oncoming catastrophe that could, if left unopposed, destroy the world.
Do you hear me, Cypher? Can you see me? There you are. Good. A strange place, this nexus of time. I am not used to the calculation. That has always been Minerva's domain. I see you still have many questions. Who were we? What became of us? What do we desire of you? You will have your answers. Only listen, and I will tell you how. Both before the end and after, we sought to save the world. We built vaults within which to work, each dedicated to a different method of salvation. They were placed underground to avoid the war which raged above, and also as a precaution should we fail in our efforts. Each vault's knowledge was transmitted to a single place. It was our duty, mine, Minerva's, and Juno's, to sort and sample all that was collected. We chose those solutions which held the most promise, and devoted ourselves to testing their merits. 6 we tried in succession, each more encouraging than the last, but none worked. And then the world ended.
Seeing this message, Desmond would finally reach a sync nexus with Ezio and Altair, waking him from his coma with a clear understanding of his task, as himself, Rebecca, Sean, and William would reach the Grand Temple, the hub of research for the Capitoline Triad of Minerva, Juno, and Jupiter. Despite being able to enter the temple with the aid of the Apple of Eden, Desmond and the gang would face an obstacle to the global Aurora Borealis device, the pedestal created by Minerva that would manipulate the numbers that made up existence into creating a protective shield over the Earth that would protect it from solar flares. Fucking hell, sometimes I do understand why people stop paying attention to the modern day plotline. Regardless, thanks to the consciousness of Juno also being trapped within the Grand Temple, it would be revealed to Desmond that the key to the door to the pedestal could be found by reliving the memories of another of his ancestors, Haytham Kenway, a high-ranking member of the London Templar Order who would come into possession of the key in 1760, and would subsequently travel to the American colonies to try to uncover the Grand Temple's secrets. Oh yeah, the Grand Temple's in New York, by the way. Why is it in New York? Because Ubisoft wanted to make an AC game set in the Wars of Independence. While in the colonies, Haytham would meet a Native American woman by the name of Zio, who he would smash into high heavens, leading to the birth of his son Ratina Kate, who would later take up the name of Connor Kenway. As a boy,
day, Connor would see his people's land invaded by a group of Templars led by Charles Lee, who were searching for the entrance to the Grand Temple. In an effort to confront them, Connor would be knocked out, only to wake up to see his village being burnt to the ground and his mother unable to escape the fiery wreckage. Understandably, a young Connor would assume the burning of his village was caused by the same man he just met, and so would develop a vendetta against the Templars for the rest of his days, even after he found out that they actually had nothing to do with it and George Washington actually had his mother killed. Awkward. Nonetheless, Connor would commune with Juno using a crystal ball bestowed on him by his village's elder, who would lead him to seek out the assassins in the colonies. And after being trained by Achilles Davenport, Connor would go on to rebuild the American Brotherhood, killing both his father and Charles Lee, and acquiring the second key to the Grand Temple, which he would bury at the Davenport homestead for Desmond to uncover 200 years later. Making their way to the pedestal, Desmond and the gang would come into contact with holographic representations of the consciousness of both Minerva and Juno, one warning Desmond against communing with the pedestal, the other encouraging it. Minerva cautioned him that if he activated the machine, Juno's consciousness would be let free from the temple and she'd be free to enslave humanity, which is kind of a weird thing for Minerva to be up in arms about, considering the Isu made humans to literally be slaves, but hey, I guess she was one of the good ones.
While we worked to save the world, she sought instead to conquer it. She used our machine to set her plans in motion. Divination through numbers. There is a pattern to existence. To comprehend the calculations,
Yeah, me too.
That's how you're here now?
I had hoped you might find this place and finish our work. But it is too late. You and the Templars have squabbled over our refuse. You have wasted centuries, and so you have lost your chance. You cannot hope to stop the end now, Desmond. Only to survive. She's lying! Only touch the pedestal and the world will be saved. Better the world burn than she be loosed upon it. Is that so? Show him then. But he will not understand. It is complicated. It is.
Show me.
If you heed Minerva, the sun will have its way. The ground will crack and spit fire into the skies. All the world will burn. But this does not end the world, merely heralds its arrival. Darkness follows. Then you emerge, resolving to lay a foundation that such a tragedy does not befall the world again. You will become a symbol to those who survive. Hope, knowledge, determination. You will inspire them to rebuild, to thrive once more. And as the world heals, so too will humanity. But you are just a man, frail and mortal. You pass from the world, leaving behind only a memory, a legacy. You will be remembered first as a hero, later as a legend, and in time as a god. It is the cruelest fate to have written words that meant well and see them made wicked and unwise. What was meant to encourage life, used instead to justify taking it.
they'd strip the DNA of to utilize in new Animus projects, which would be disguised under the entertainment sector of their company. And so we'd suddenly take up the mantle of what essentially is a video games tester, set to explore Abstergo's newest interest, Caribbean pirates. So, re-entering the Animus, we'd begin to explore the memories of Edward Kenway, a privateer turned pirate turned assassin who in his time in the West Indies uncovered a site, a human implanted with a significant amount of Isu DNA that would essentially have the mind and soul of said Isu imprinted into their genes. The sage Edward met was a descendant of the Isu Aita, the husband of Juno, and as it so happened, so too was an IT employee at Abstergo Entertainment, John Standish, who'd been sent as a double agent by the assassins to discover information on the company's work. John, however, was also in fact a member of the Instruments of the First Will, a cult dedicated to the revival of Juno in physical form from the grey. But thanks to the player character's help, John would be killed before he was able to implement his plan. Meanwhile, back in the 18th century, Edward would adopt the Assassin's Creed, dropping his mantle as a pirate and returning to London with his daughter Jennifer before he'd go on to conceive his first son Haytham, who, the father of Connor. It all ties in. John Standish's body would then be used by Abstergo to launch the Phoenix Project in an effort to understand the advanced genome of the Isu and eventually create one. The assassins, meanwhile, learning of this project, would break into Abstergo's Paris facility to destroy Standish's body, leaving Abstergo without a foundation in which to execute their plan. This left the assassins and Templars in a tug of war, in which Abstergo would go searching for the bodies of sages, bodies that the assassins would have to prevent from finding in the first place. So the assassin bishop would start...
Whoa, wait. You forgot about Rogue.
I mean, Rogue's entire story is literally Otto Berg cyberbullying the assassins.
Shay, he is dark, he's epic.
He's just a French Canadian doing a bad Irish accent.
Incredibly underrated, and frankly, Rogue deserves some respect.
Okay, that's enough from you.
But it is not enough for them to die. I want them to know how weak they truly are. And I want everyone to see them suffer. So on the day they finally meet me, they will welcome the death I offer them. My plan is in motion.
Where was I? Bishop would begin hacking into Abstergo's Helix server in order to reveal the truth of Abstergo's plan to its users, requesting they search through the memories of various historical figures in order to locate the bodies of certain sages. And so, after coming into contact with the nameless, faceless protagonist of AC Unity, Bishop would send her new initiate into the memories of Arnaud Victor Dorian, an assassin raised by Templars in the years of the French Revolution. Arnaud, after being both inducted into and expelled from the Assassin Order, would discover that the Templar Order had been taken over by a sage by the name of Francois Thomas Germain, and with the aid of his high school sweetheart, he would kill Germain, leaving his body to decompose in the catacombs of Paris, to the point where his body would be useless for the Templars in the modern day. In other words, the story of Assassin's Creed Unity did precisely nothing to move the plot of the series forward. Fantastic. Moving on from there, as Bishop, Sean Hastings and Rebecca Crane would begin tracking the Shroud of Eden, a piece of technology with regenerative healing powers, Bishop would go on to send one of their initiates into the memories of both Jacob and Evie Fry, twin assassins from Industria-era Crawley who travelled to London to destabilise the core of Templar power there that was built by Haytham and Reginald Birch almost 100 years before. Over a 6-month span, yes, 6 fucking months, Jacob and Evie would take control of half of London's industries as well as build the most notorious gang in the city, the Rooks. Kill me. This would involve Jacob crashing the world's economy, Evie becoming best mates with Karl Marx, and plenty of other wacky hijinks that eventually led the two to uncover the Shroud beneath Buckingham Palace, and after killing Crawford Starrick, they were able to prevent the Templars getting their hands on it. So, Sean and Rebecca, with the help of the assassin Galina Voronina, made their way to the Shroud's location, only to find the Templars, led by Otto Berg and Violet DaCosta. And after a bit of conflict in the underground crypt, and a non-lethal shot to Rebecca, DaCosta would escape with the Shroud in hand, bringing it back to Abstergo's labs to aid the Templars. And as Abstergo began to grow bodies, DaCosta looked to reincarnate the soul of Juno in a fully fledged form.
Hello? It's me? Brought the shroud as you asked, but I'm scared. Do not fear me. You've done well. I'm not scared of you. I'm scared for you. Anyone finds out what you've been doing. You have played your part, my instrument. I will save you. I will save you all.
A few years later, Abstergo would send Layla Hassan, a member of the historical tactical team, to Egypt to uncover a piece of Eden that the Templars considered valuable. At some point in the years preceding this, Layla, in an attempt to prove herself to Abstergo, developed a version of the Animus that would allow her to read damaged DNA, even of people who weren't related to her. We don't know how, we don't entirely know why, but we do know that this animus was portable, and so when she discovered the burial site of Bayek of Siwa, she would explore the memories of an ancient Egyptian Magi, just before the turn of the millennium. Bayek, after losing his son to a mysterious cult known as the Order of the Ancients, would go on a revenge mission with his wife Aya, and after the two came in contact with Cleopatra, they'd be tasked with eliminating the Order's presence from the country, as to allow her to take complete power from her brother Ptolemy. Bayek and Aya would carry out this hunt, before eventually Cleopatra, alongside Caesar and Apollodorus, would betray them, leading them to realize that they needed to stand for something besides losing power, that they needed a creed that was higher than any nation state.
Hold on. I was wrong. I am responsible. When my boy died, I fought back with rage and anger. But this only made them stronger. We are all different, but we fought together to put Cleopatra on the throne. Now this was a mistake, my friends, but at least it brought us together. Now our enemies are hidden behind crowns, working in the shadows of kings and queens. Who are the ones that work in the shadows for the people? We are. Something has come of all of this, and it starts right now. We must continue the fight and defend the free will of the people. And no matter how small, our brotherhood is the only hope, and our kingdom needs no crowns. What we believe in, our values, our creed, will unify us. I promise that for all the songs of Egypt, I will be the father I was not that day in Siwa.
And so,
I won over $500,000 playing slots. I do this full time and I would not change it for the world. It's fun and I win.
Bayek and Aya would establish the Hidden Ones, a precursor to the Levantine assassins that would be spread into Rome and Eastern Europe by Aya, who would travel to strike the first blow in the assassination of Caesar. As Layla awoke from these memories, she was confronted by a man who claimed to be William Miles, although as you can see, it's clearly not William Miles, is it? Like, come on, that's different, man. After meeting her for only a minute though, William would offer her a place amongst the assassins, which she understandably took after Abstergo murdered her girlfriend. At this point, Desmond's illegitimate son Elijah Miles, a sage who had been captured by the Templars, was being used by the instruments of the First Will, who in 2018 broke into Abstergo's labs in an attempt to reincarnate Juno using Elijah's DNA. This reincarnation was a success, meaning the main antagonist of the series, the goddess who had been planning her return and her enslavement of humanity for 10 years, had been fully revived in a comic book. But it gets even better, because the assassin Charlotte de la Cruz would then go on to kill Juno in that very same comic book. So the main story of a 9-game series was resolved in a piece of side media that most people didn't even know existed. Jesus. It's at this point where the mainline games entirely broke all semblance of lore the series had to create an absolutely laughably bad, entirely nonsensical, incomprehensible game known as Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And for that I will never forgive Ubisoft, but alas, Layla works with the assassins, finds the Spear of Leonidas, relives Cassandra's memories, eventually meets Cassandra, who is wearing a Savile Row tailored suit, gets the Staff of Hermes passed onto her, which grants her immortality, she kills Victoria Babo, paralyzes Otto Berg. Why did the game that entirely ignored the lore of the modern day also have a fuck ton of important modern day content? Anyway, that's all that happened. Nothing else matters in Odyssey. Let's forget about it. By early 2020, the effect of the global Aurora Borealis machine that Desmond activated back in 2012 had become near catastrophic, with the Earth's magnetic field getting 50 times stronger, leading to mass radiation and interference with communication signals that caused many satellites to be taken out of orbit and to fall from the sky. After Layla joined a team consisting of Sean Hastings and Rebecca Crane, they received a cryptic message that led them to a Norse grave in North America, where Layla would begin reliving the memories of Eivor Varensdottir, a Viking that fought under Sigurd Styrbjornsson's Raven clan in England after he lost his throne in Norway. Building a village named Ravensthorpe, Eivor and Sigurd, with the help of the Hidden One's Basim, would traverse the land, occupying territories and making alliances with kings across the counties of England. It seemed Basim, with his student Hytham, had travelled to England to dismantle the Order of the Ancients, and whilst Eivor aids them in that effort, it's made clear that Basim has ulterior motives. This is due to Basim, along with Eivor and Sigurd, all being reincarnates of various Isu, who used the seventh method of salvation to imprint their souls onto human DNA. This method, referred to as the Mead when Eivor relives the memories of Odin, was a last-ditch effort to prevent the Isu's extinction, with certain Isu using similar technology that Juno used to imprint Aita's DNA onto humans, including Odin, Freya, and Tyr, to create reincarnations of themselves, which end up being Eivor, Svala, Sigurd, and Basim respectively. After these Isu had left imprints of their DNA, Loki would break into the facility and use the machine to imprint his own DNA, which of course would lead him to be reincarnated as Basim. Loki's goal? To get revenge on Odin for the death of his son. Sigurd, meanwhile, is set on what he calls fulfilling his destiny, which leads him and Eivor to the Yggdrasil, the life tree, an Isu site in Norway that allows the user to live on in a simulation of their liking, which for Eivor and Sigurd is represented by their vision of Valhalla. Entering Valhalla, Eivor and Sigurd find themselves in a constant recurring battle for glory, where none of their wounds last longer than a day and they're allowed to fight and feast to their heart's content. Eivor, though, would recognize this simulation as a lie and fight to break Odin's control of her mind, with both her and Sigurd breaking out of the simulation. Outside of the life tree, Basim would appear to take Sigurd hostage, and Eivor and Basim would fight each other until eventually Basim would be locked into the life tree, and Eivor would return to England to take control of the Raven clan. Outside of the Animus, Layla would travel to the Isu Vault in Norway to attempt to find a way to slow down the continually increasing magnetism of the Aurora Borealis. She'd be taken into the life tree, accidentally dropping the staff of Hermes that was protecting her from the radiation of the vault. Within the simulation, Layla would discover a liminal space where she'd find Basim, who, with the complete Isu network of data, was able to see across time to send the message to Layla. He would present Layla with a pedestal that, if activated, would, at least temporarily, slow down the Aurora Borealis, which, despite working, would also release Basim out of the tree and send Layla into the Grey, where she would discover the soul of Desmond Miles, left only as a glowing silhouette called the Reader. For the previous 8 years, Desmond had been reading countless possible outcomes in which the catastrophe never happened, with no success. Layla, however, would suggest a new idea, in which the two scour possible timelines in which Desmond allowed the 2012 catastrophe to happen, to see whether any of the surviving humans would have found a way to break the node and prevent the catastrophe from happening again. Realizing that she had dropped the staff and would now be a victim of lethal radiation, Layla makes the decision to stay with Desmond to aid him in uncovering a timeline that would prevent the world's end.
Thank you for your insights, Layla.
It's only the beginning. We have a lot of data to sift through.
Are you staying?
Until we find something useful, I will. I don't want this to happen ever again.
You may not have much time, Layla. The machine is powered down, but the radiation, it will linger for decades. By my calculations, you have 73 seconds before your exposure is lethal.
I'm not worried. I have the Staff of Eden. It heals and protects.
No, you do not.
What? How? Of course.
Of course.
Fuck. All right. We'll find a solution together. However long it takes. And if that means I can never leave, so be it. I owe this to the people I hurt. The people I love.
Yes, I know the feeling.
Let's get going, huh? A few billion timelines might take a while.
It will. But it will not feel like it. That is what I like about this place.
Meanwhile, outside of the Grey, Basim would be revived by the Staff of Hermes, which would be revealed to house the soul of Alethea, Loki's wife, which was apparently their plan the entire time. Honestly, you could call this contrived, but looking at this series, contrived villain plans are kind of its entire foundation. Basim, dressed like a Discord mod, returns to Sean and Rebecca and goes on to request a meeting with the mentor of the Assassins, William Miles, and as they agree, Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes to an end, and so too does the story of Assassin's Creed so far, because Assassin's Creed Valhalla did not have any DLC or post-launch content. Trust me, it didn't. Although I'm sure this Bastion plotline will be wrapped up in some obscure comic, I can honestly say that despite its flaws, Valhalla's story left me somewhat optimistic, or at least interested in what this franchise is going forward. Although the current rumoured direction of the series is less than ideal, hopefully some meaningful payoff to this setup can be written, and for once in the series lifespan, a story can be fully told. With that all being said, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit like, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe with post notifications turned on. Once again, I do hope you enjoyed, and with all that being said, I've been Joe, aka Found a Scarab, and I will see you in the last
Alright, everybody. That was a pretty good story time. I have to continue off where the guy was left off at. The Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out with several DLCs. They came out with Paris of Siege, Ragnarok, and a couple other ones. The Druid one. And then they come out with Assassin's Creed Mirage, where the story continues from there. So stay up to date with my streams with my Assassin's Creed Mirage. Link all the pieces together, and you're gonna really love the game. So now it's just time to chill out and chat. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for coming in. We're gonna go for a little bit longer. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Now, this is a good video you can put in your save file so that you can have the history of Assassin's Creed in your playlist and go back and listen to it. If you had problems with hearing it, you can also look it up. What is your favorite Assassin's Creed game, even if it's not listed below? Got another surprise coming up real quick. Check this out.
Thanks for your help, Captain Cook. You're welcome, Captain Cormac. Sailing with you is certainly, interesting. Well, trouble does seem to find us, it's true. Tell me the truth. Are you fellows with a larger organization? The Board of Admiralty. You take your orders directly from His Majesty, don't you? Tell you even if we were.
As is custom among our kind, we do not plunge headlong into folly on the orders of a single madman, but act according to our own collective madness. My name's Matt Ryan. I'm playing Edward Kenway in the game Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Edward's a quick-witted Welshman who leaves to seek his fame and fortune in Nassau at a young age. When we meet him, he's brash, rude, very selfish. He's presented with these different opportunities and different versions and ideas of ways of living, and you don't quite know which direction he's going to go. And I think that's really an interesting dilemma.
We're outnumbered, mate. It's not the first time, Kenway. It won't be the last.
My name is Mark Bonner. I'm playing Blackbeard. I like the fact that nobody really knows who he was, you know, other than the fact he was fucking terrifying.
Give your quarry something to fear. Some hellish thing from a fevered dream. And men will drop to their knees, pleading for their lord.
He understands the power of fear, and he knows how to use it to his absolute utmost.
Wide of the mark.
When Edward comes to this new world, Thatch has become almost like a father figure to him.
A man's a prick.
And my name's Ralph Einstein, and I'm playing Charles Bain.
So this is the new Libertalia, eh? Stinks the same as every other squat I've robbed this past year.
When they first meet, Edward has heard all the rumors about Vane, and he's obviously a little bit skeptical, but there comes a time when the two of them could make a really good pirating partnership.
We can build a fire ship.
He's a lunacy.
Thanks, bro. I hope you have a good night, too. Just kind of chilling right now.
Come on, Carter! So you don't have him on skates yet, huh?
It's only 6 months old.
A series this epic is bound to have some pretty incredible moments. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Assassin's Creed moments. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our lasted videos. For this list, we're looking at our favorite moments from Ubisoft's fan-favorite game series, which takes players to various historic time periods.
Requiescat in pace, you bastard.
Hey, what's good,
I
man?
don't think so.
Number 10, the Auditore family's death,
Playing some
Assassin's Creed 2.
stuff.
You and your collaborators are hereby sentenced to death.
Here's the thing about this series. It involves a whole lot of murder. Usually, it's the bad guys getting dispatched by the shadowy heroes, but sometimes good people lose their lives as well. In the
Work for
case of
Devil
fan-favorite
today,
protagonist
work for Devil
Ezio,
tomorrow,
an assassin
work for
from
Devil
Renaissance
Sunday.
Italy, he lost almost his entire family after his father, a member of the Assassins, ran
Oh, yeah.
afoul of the powerful Borgia
Hell
family.
yeah, tactical
This traumatic
boys.
event kicked off Ezio's journey as an assassin, and began a saga that remains near and dear to the hearts of Assassin's Creed fans.
You may take our lives this day, but we will have yours in return, I swear we will! Father!
Incredible stories often begin with tragedy, and this is no exception.
Don't worry, Ezio. Everything is going to be fine.
Number 9, Killing the Pope, Assassin's Creed 2.
Always the fight, just like your father.
That was a good
Well,
moment.
rejoice, my child, for you will see him again soon.
Video games have the power to transport us to incredible locales and time periods, allowing us to experience things we've never thought possible, albeit digitally. And of all the video games in existence, how many present players with the opportunity to get into an epic battle of swords
did all
and
this and
wits
beat
with
all
the
these
Pope
games.
himself?
Fascinating.
The only game I haven't
An
beaten
impressive
is
power,
Mirage.
this. But if you think it's going to save you, another thing coming.
At the climax of the second Assassin's Creed game,
So I have
Ezio
streams
squares
on
off
all
against the
these videos
patriarch
that
of the
it's
Borgia
talked about
family, Rodrigo
every moment.
Borgia, otherwise known as Pope Alexander VI. On top of being an intense and challenging boss fight, the sheer uniqueness of this scene is more than enough to put it on our list.
It's my destiny. Mine. I am the prophet.
Number 8, The Death of Haytham Kenway, Assassin's Creed 3.
He is the promise of a better future. A sheep in a shepherd.
Love it or hate it, Assassin's Creed 3 is still a pretty integral part of the series, and it does have its fair share of powerful moments. Easily one of the strongest aspects of the game is the relationship between protagonist Connor and his
Definitely a
father,
great game,
card-carrying member of the Templar Order named Haytham Kenway.
And yet everything I've shown you, all I've said and done, should clearly demonstrate otherwise.
Haytham believes in the Templar ideal of peace through oppression to his very core, and is easily one of the most charismatic villains the series has had. But the name of the game is still killing, and Haytham is one of the final foes you'll face in the game. And, sorry, there is no pacifist option.
Can't wait to go play some of those games again.
Number 7, Why Not? Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
I hope you have enjoyed your evening so far, ladies and gentlemen. I know I have.
Sympathetic and nuanced villains are all well and good, but there's also a lot of fun to be had with antagonists who just love being the baddie. Case in point, Assassin's Creed Syndicate boss Maxwell Roth, a ruthless London gang leader and very brief ally of the assassin Jacob Fry. After Jacob and Roth's alliance falls apart, Jacob dispatches the gravelly-voiced adversary in a truly fiery confrontation. Before shuffling off this mortal coil, Roth delivers what may be one of the series' very best deathbed monologues. One he buttons with a smooch to a very surprised Jacob. He may not have been the most complex villain, but he sure was fun.
Keep the world in its divine, manic state. For the same reason I do anything.
What? Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Number 6, Ezio's Big Speech, Assassin's Creed 2.
Never preached answers.
That was a great moment.
to learn from myself. We don't need anyone.
With that being said, I've beaten all these games. Platinumed Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. I'd like to Platinum Mirage and go back and play Platinum Unity. I'm really close. Black Flag, I like to Platinum that game. And then the old Ezio collection and stuff. That being said, thanks for coming in, everybody, and I hope you have a good night. I'm out of here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. We'll talk about more games. Not only can we talk about them, but I have a playlist of all these games and over 3,000 videos. So if you want to look at any Assassin's Creed games, I have them in my playlist. Have a good night.